Hello, everyone. It's very nice to see everyone here. And I'm sure you have learned a lot about causal inference from the three wonderful talks from my colleagues, Biwei, Babak, and Yelena. So now I'm going to share with you something a little bit different. So my name is Lily Wen. I'm an assistant professor in HDSI with affiliation in CSE. My group focuses on trustworthy machine learning with particular focus on robustness and interpretability. And today I want to share with you some exciting results in my group about the interpretable deep learning. So we know that deep neural networks are everywhere. So you can see this in computer vision for many different classical computer vision tasks, in natural language processing and speech. It's actually beyond this traditional AI field. So neural networks has also been used in medicine, biology, security and defense, finance, robotics, and more. Perhaps you are this is a very popular, well-known neural network agent, the AlphaGo agent, which has already defeated the world champion. You might also know that neural networks can be used to predict the protein structure. And this famous ChatGPT chatbot is also powered by deep neural networks. So indeed, deep neural networks are already in our daily life. But the questions we want to ask is, what makes deep neural networks perform so well, and why? So unfortunately, deep neural networks are still considered as a black box models. So it's like a black box magic. It works so well, but people don't really know why. And mostly it's because perhaps it's very complicated architectures. So this is just a very simplified, on the left hand, a simplified neural network model. But in practice, people use this kind of very complicated, very deep neural networks in their machine learning task. So let me take a step back. Why is it important to understand deep neural networks? So the interpretability is crucial to enable trustworthy machine learning, because interpretability can help us to build trust. So users will trust a system more if they can understand it. And this is especially important in the high-stake domains like healthcare, self-driving cars. Interpretability can help safety because it can help us to evaluate and monitor the capabilities of the model and understand whether there's failure modes of your machine learning models. Interpretability can also help transparency. So with interpretability, then we can detect the biases and debug issues for your neural network model. This is especially useful for the designers and machine learning researchers. Last but not least, interpretability can help us to design better models. So with the interpretability, then we can have more insight on how and what our models learn, which can help us to design better models and training methods. So in this talk, I want to share with you how we can demystify the neural network models. So the neural networks models I'm talking about here can be as simple as a fully kinetic neural networks. It could also be convolutional neural networks, or even more complicated like vision transformers. In the first part of the talk, I want to share with you a very recent result in my lab on how we can develop interpretability tools to understand how neural networks operate. And this can enable trust, safety, and transparency. So this is a recent iClear work with my PhD student in UCSD. In the second part of the talk, I want to share with you how we can use the interpretability tool to develop systematic methods to learn interpretable neural networks. So this can help us to design better models, This is also our recent iClear work with my PhD student, Thomas, my collaborators, Subro and Lam, and this is me. Okay, so what is an interpretability tool? So given a neural network model you have trained, an interpretability tool will tell you what's the functionality of the neurons in your neural networks. And we call this concepts. So we use the concepts to describe the functionality. So for example, this is what we actually found in the real ResNet-50 network, that there's this broccoli neurons and there's this gymnastic neurons. So this is analogous to how neuroscientists try to understand our human brain. So remember, our human brain is also a very famous neural network, and neuroscientists, they try to characterize different regions of our brain into different functions. So why do we care about the interpretability tools? So first, we want it to be fully automated and scalable. So existing works on the interpretability tools, usually they're required to collect these concept annotations in order for them to dissect what is a neural network, which could be very expensive and time-consuming. So for example, in my previous case, I showed that we find that there's a broccoli neurons. So in that case, then they need to have the concept of broccoli in the label data set so that they can do that, which could be very expensive and time-consuming. Furthermore, they can hardly expand the concepts. So let's say if you have a very different neural network in a very different domain, then you need to collect new labels in order to identify new concepts. The second thing we want it's desirable for interpretability tools is that it should work for various deep neural network architectures. So it should be compatible to not only, for example, the convolutional neural networks, but also state-of-the-art deep neural networks and many more in the future. Okay, so this is the new interpretability tool. We call it ClipDissect, which can address the limitation of existing state-of-the-art interpretability tools. So this is the architectures. Given the interest of time, I'm not going to talk about the details of how we are doing this. If you're interested, you are welcome to check out the papers for details. But in this talk, I want to focus more on what is the results we get and how is it useful. So the benefits of our the tool is that it is label-free. So it does not need to collect any concept labels. It is training-free. It's very flexible. It can expand on unrestricted concepts. So this is the results that when we use the tool to dissect a ResNet-50 model. So this is the architecture of a ResNet model. Usually consists of 4 building blocks. And for example, using our tool, we can look into any blocks that you desire. So for example, let's look at the first block. We find that there's this stripe neurons, there's this texture neurons. For the layer 4 block, we find there's this speeding neurons, there's this greyhound neuron. And in general, you might be interested in a full picture of what the network looks like. So you can use our tool to take a look on what is the full profile of the interpretable neurons. So here I show what is the the top 5 neurons in each building blocks.
So you have annotations for all these concepts, right?
We don't need to collect the annotations. So that's kind of the contribution of our work. Yeah.
Seems like magic.
Yeah. So this is just some numbers for the quantitative results. So for example, we can try to calculate what is the concept accuracy. And then we can achieve better accuracy than the state of the art. And our tool is also very fast. So it's roughly 10 to 20 times, 200 times faster than the existing tools. So if you want to use our tool to dissect a ResNet-50 trained on ImageNet, it has roughly 4,000 neurons. It will just only take 4 minutes. Okay, so our tool has the following benefits. It can provide high quality neuron description. It's computationally efficient. It is also flexible. And we have our code public online, so you are welcome to play with our code. We also have our paper upload online. So the second part of the talk is how we can design better models that is interpretable. So we can use the tool that I just described, the CliviSec, the interpretability tool, to help us build interpretable deep neural network models at scale. So kind of the people are a little bit hesitating to use the neural network model is because it's not interpretable. And here, I will show you how we can actually make neural network interpretable so that you can use it more reliably. So in this work, the iClear paper, what we propose is that we can transform any neural network backbone into interpretable neural networks by adding these human interpretable concept layers. So it is also known as a concept bottleneck layer. And then we can have a prediction layer afterwards. And the whole architecture becomes an interpretable deep neural network model, which is also known as the concept bottleneck model. So the benefits of our work is that it's automated and flexible. So usually in the state-of-the-art existing CBM, the concept bottleneck model work, they're required to collect these concept annotations. And oftentimes they need to work with the experts to get those concepts. So we can actually automate these concepts by using the large language model, as we have shown in this paper. Of course, in our work, you can also work with experts to get the useful concepts. So that one is optional. But kind of the most contribution is that we can learn this model, this concept bottleneck layer in a label-free fashion. So we do not need to have the concept labels to train a CBM. And so this can be accomplished by using the interpretability tools that I described in the first part of my talk, so that we can try to enforce the concepts of the neurons in the concept bottleneck layers in a label-free fashion. And the way the label-free CBN is scalable and efficient. So this is the first concept bottleneck model trained on the ImageNet. It also has high performance. So usually people show that when you want to add interpretability to your model, there's this accuracy and interpretability trade-off. So in this paper, we show that there's actually minimal trade-off. So we can achieve comparable accuracy to the standard model while retaining while having very good interpretability. Okay, so let me show you some results. So this is I plot the concept bottleneck layers. So these are useful concepts, human interpretable. This is the final layer, which is the class. So for example, here, I'm showing the orange class and the lemon class. And you can see they're connected to some concepts. So if the age are thicker, it means that the weights are larger. So using a label-free CBM, then we can easily visualize the final layer weights in this fashion and check out what is their decision rules. So we find that this actually makes sense. So for example, we see that the orange class is heavily connected to the citrus fruit and bright orange color. That is the concept. You can also examine the lemon class. It is highly connected to the citrus fruit, which is a shared concept between these two classes, while lemon has other concepts that contribute to the lemon class, like lime and yellow color, which makes sense. So we can also use label-free CBM to look at to provide the explainable individual decisions. So for example, let's say given an input, given an image, so this bird image, you send it to the concept bottleneck model, and then the model tells you that it is a red-headed woodpecker. You might ask why this prediction, why the models know. then we can use our tool to explain the individual decisions by looking at the concept contributions. So for example, here I plot out the top 4 concepts that contribute to this prediction for this image. And you can see that the top activating concept is a redhead. So we know that the redhead makes this image a red-headed woodpecker. Finally, I want to show this interesting use case that we can also easily correct the model mistakes. So for example, this is an input of your image. You input to the CBM, and the model tells you that it is a cricket insect, which is actually incorrect. So the ground truth of this image should be a grasshopper, but the model tells you that it is a cricket insect. Does anyone know what's the difference between a grasshopper and cricket insect?
Legs.
More legs?
Grasshoppers fly.
Always fly?
Should be detectable birds.
Yeah, so let me show you the picture. So this is a cricket insect. So the cricket insect, it looks very similar, but it's a brown color. So with this domain knowledge, then we can actually correct the prediction, correct the model mistakes to improve the model performance. So what we did here is that we observed that the green color actually is not connected. It has a 0 weight here. So in this case, we try to add the green color has more weight, contribute to the grasshopper, and decrease its contribution to the cricket insect. And this can help us to correct the model prediction. So in summary, the label-free CBM we proposed has the following benefits. And again, our codes are available and public, and there's our manuscript. So feel free to check out. So I want to talk also a little bit about my other works in my lab about the trustworthy machine learning, particularly focused on robust machine learning. So we have been developing these robustness verification tools to trying to provide provable guarantees for deep neural networks models that might potentially have adversarial examples. Our tools can also handle non-adversarial perturbations like random noise, semantic perturbations like rotations, translations. These are the perturbations that often occur in the computer vision applications. We also have some recent works not only trying to verify whether your neural network model is robust, we also try to improve the performance, the robustness performance of your neural networks in the computer vision domains, in the reinforcement learning domains, also in the self-supervised learning domain. So these are some recent works in my lab, and if you are interested, feel free to check out my website, and feel free to send me an email if you'd be happy to chat. Thank you.